Hello YouTube. Tonight I am working on a prom dress with a mesh hemming. I've already have the mesh attached to it to the new height. I am now just putting the mesh together because the mesh had to be cut. And this, I am using the invisible thread. As you can see, it's invisible thread. I don't like to use it because you can't see it. I mean, that's the point of it, but if I'm using it, I sort of need to see it. But for this, it's really good because you can't see it on the mesh. I haven't dropped the pins. And I'm going to do a square with it. Just because I know it's going across both sides and I want to make sure that it stays in line the entire time. All right. And I've got enough room on it to lift it up and continue on with my square. Now you don't have to go back. I'm just doing it for reinforcement. And then this will be part one because I did check the video out of me pinning the dress on Instagram. Stitch It Alterations and Designs. And then I am doing the part one of the mesh attachments to the mesh. And then I'm not zigzagging it. So if someone's asking why, because I'm not doing that to the edges right now. I wanted to make sure that it was secure. So enough for me to take the pins out. And then I can zigzag it. Zigzag is 3. Oh. Alright. Now I can zigzag it and go back and forth over it without having to pick up the mesh or turn it around. I said that and then I picked it up because I was going to do that. I can't help myself sometimes. All right. I do not like working with this invisible thread. Just so y'all know, it is a hassle because you really can't see it. But this is on. I also said on Instagram that you can use the 2-sided tape. I just prefer to have it anchored better, or at least in my mind, better with this. And it's just hard to see. But you can see straight through it. And it is, I think, which one? Because this stuff is like, how can you see it? I'm going to do some more on this side. And this is not necessary. I'm just anal like that, to be honest. All right. And I'm cutting the tails off. And then I'm going to go on the other side. On the other side. Mr. Right here. So you can see what I'm putting it on. Remember, this is on the right side of the dress. This is stretchy fabric. So make sure that you are not stretching it when you are pulling it. When you are pinning it. Pinning the mesh to it, because the mesh will make it bounce back. I'm using my favorite rocks from my babies. Just want to make sure the mesh is flat. And then you put your pins back. I was just cutting it to make sure it had, it fit. And I didn't want to, sew it with a seam. Here we go. Attaching it, attaching it, attaching it, attaching it. It's a good fit. And what I did was overlap it. 2 inches on each side of a line, and then I'll put it on. Make sure you have enough pins. All right. So I am going to, now that it is pinned in place, we have to cut at least 1/4 of an inch above the mesh line, because we're going to anchor it on the mesh line. But it's going to be folded over. You can mark out 1/4 of an inch if you'd like, or just cut. I'm going to make sure that the dress is not under itself. That your surface under there is clear. You can't uncut fabric. This is on the top. So what we're going to do is sew it, and it folds over, and then we'll sew this part under here. All right. Let me get the rotary cutter. I don't like doing the scissors with it because the scissors makes for some jagged lines. I'm almost finished, so I'm excited. Remember, it's just 1/4 of an inch above the mesh. I know it's hard to see, but there's mesh, so there's nothing I can do about that. Oh my goodness. Let me show you on this side how it looks. So this is the side that's already done. This was the side that did not need to be adjusted. So as you see, it's just 1/4 of an inch. You sew it here, and then it flips under, just like this. This one did not come top stitched at the bottom. They only had the top stitch in here. So now y'all see what I'm doing. And I got all the dress up there. I've taken out all the rhinestones. There was a lot of them. And the dress is out flat. And I'm just going to go a little bit above. All the way around. Take your time, because you don't want to cut the mesh or get too close. Need to put new blades in my rotary cutter. Don't pull it. Just take your time and cut through it. Yes. Sometimes. And make sure your fabric is not pulling, because that changes the cut. I think everyone who's done this have learned that the hard way. See, it'll pull. So you want to make sure it's relaxed. It takes time. There's no rushing with this. And you make sure that your fabric is flat and nothing is under it. Put my rocks down. All right, that's that side. Now, I'm going to sew this on the industrial machine. I'm not putting this under my home machine. Make sure your pins aren't going anywhere, because sometimes they won't move. I'm just not. The industrial machine, I have a lot more room. Which with gowns and stuff, you need more room. I think you need more room, but I guess to each his own. Using my rocks. So this is the beginning on this side. Where I'm almost finished. And I'm just cutting close to the mesh, but not on the mesh. About 1/4 inch away. So it can have some, the mesh can have some room to fold over. That's all you want, room to fold over. And I'm gonna move the rock with me, still making sure the underneath is clear. All right, you're right at it. Breathe easier now. All right, so it is off. The only thing left now is to sew it, flip it over, and then top stitch it. Remember, this is technically part 2, because the other video said that I had it uploaded on Instagram, and then I'm going to record part 3. I have to put it in separate things because I'm trying to put the videos on different platforms. So stay tuned for part 3.